The shift doesn't wait for the calendar to catch up. The moment people start directing their attention toward February 22nd, something in the energy field responds, early, quietly, and with real weight. This portal feeds on anticipation. It takes whatever you're already leaning toward, the decisions sitting half-made in the back of your mind, the opportunities you keep circling, the changes you're almost ready to commit to, and begins amplifying them before the date even arrives. And here's what matters most. This portal lands hardest on a very specific group of people. Will this portal actually reach you? Not everyone experiences this in the same way. The people who tend to feel it most are those who've carried a quiet awareness for most of their lives, the ones who sense things before they had the words for it. Maybe you questioned reality earlier than the people around you. Maybe you always felt older on the inside than your age reflected. Maybe you noticed things others glossed over, or felt slightly misplaced in rooms where everyone else seemed right at home. If any of that sounds familiar, pay attention. This energy was built for people like you, the 3 days that form the core. This portal moves like a tide. It doesn't peak and vanish in a single moment. It builds across 3 consecutive days, each with its own texture. The 21st is where it begins. Things start feeling slightly different. Clarity slips through in small doses. Realizations arrive without being forced. You start seeing your own life from a vantage point that feels higher, wider, like you've stepped back from a painting you were standing too close to. The 22nd is where it tightens. This is the alignment point, the day where everything you've been quietly turning over in your head begins to settle into place. Choices feel less clouded. Life starts to feel more coordinated, as if something behind the scenes has been reorganizing itself on your behalf. Many people describe this particular day as the sensation of finally being on the right track, even when nothing in their external circumstances has visibly changed yet. That's because this portal reinforces direction before it reinforces results. The 23rd is the landing. The internal shifts from the previous days begin to root themselves into something more stable. People often look back at this day and realize something quiet but permanent changed in how they see their path forward. The portal continues working well beyond these 3 days, but this is the heart of it. A single day rarely pivots a life. The right 3 days can. What to leave alone during this window. Tomorrow responds poorly to performance. If you find yourself acting more spiritual than you actually feel just because the date carries significance, posting elevated, speaking elevated, showing up elevated for the aesthetic of it, the energy will sense the disconnect. This portal has a way of sharpening authenticity, and anything hollow falls flat inside it. Chasing signs is the other trap. Spending the day scanning every number, lyric, and coincidence for hidden meaning pulls your attention outward at exactly the moment when the real movement is happening inward. The portal doesn't communicate through scavenger hunts. It communicates through internal stillness. The moment you start hunting for meaning, you tend to miss the meaning that was already on its way to you. When 2 versions of your life come into focus, something unusual happens in the middle of this energy, and it carries no mysticism, no drama. Your mind simply zooms out. With surprising precision, you find yourself seeing 2 versions of your life at once. What it will look like if you keep doing exactly what you've been doing, and what it could look like if you shift direction. The clarity in this moment tends to feel almost uncomfortably clean. You notice the habits that keep pulling you backward. You notice the opportunities that keep surfacing but never get fully taken. You notice the patterns that have been quietly running in the background for years. Everything lines up with a kind of transparency that can feel both grounding and unsettling. The important thing is that this energy doesn't push you toward either version. It simply shows you both with equal honesty, so that whatever choice you make comes from clarity rather than confusion. Why February makes this hit differently? February portals carry a specific kind of weight because of when they land. By now, the momentum of the new year has fully dissolved. The resolutions, the fresh start energy, the motivation spikes, they've all receded back into ordinary life. What's left is just you, your actual habits, and the things you still genuinely care about. The dreams you're still thinking about at this point in the year, weeks after the enthusiasm dropped off. Those have something real in them. The plans you haven't quietly abandoned, the ideas that keep resurfacing despite the noise and the pressure, they've proven something by surviving this far. February strips away everything that was only there because the year was new. What remains belongs to you in a deeper way. When the past resurfaces, one of the stranger effects of this portal is how old threads find their way back into view. Not dramatically, more like life holding up a mirror and asking you to look. Someone you haven't thought about in months suddenly crosses your mind. A situation you believed you'd fully released shows up again in a different form. These reappearances tend to arrive as checkpoints rather than invitations. Their purpose is to show you whether the version of you that once struggled with that person or situation still exists. And often, you'll find it doesn't. You'll notice you're no longer triggered the way you once were. You'll find yourself calm where you used to feel anxious, or simply indifferent where you used to feel deeply attached. The past returns not to pull you backward, but to confirm how far you've already moved. Small confirmations over big signs. During this kind of portal, people tend to expect something dramatic, intense synchronicities, obvious messages, unmistakable signs pointing them toward their next chapter. What actually shows up is far quieter and far more reliable. The right conversation lands without you arranging it. A situation resolves itself after you've stopped trying to force it. An ordinary moment hands you the clarity you'd been overthinking for weeks. These small confirmations carry more real weight than any spectacular sign because they don't require interpretation. They simply feel true the moment they arrive. Spectacular signs create excitement. Quiet confirmations build trust in your timing, in your intuition, in the direction you've been moving even when it wasn't visible yet. A multiplier, not a miracle delivery. The most common misunderstanding about this portal is the expectation that it arrives carrying something entirely new. Blessings appearing out of thin air, circumstances shifting without any existing foundation beneath them. This energy doesn't work that way. It magnifies the direction you're already walking in. If you've been building towards something, clarity, growth, a specific kind of change, you'll notice the acceleration. Decisions feel more natural. The right people drift closer. Opportunities align faster than they usually do. If you've been avoiding decisions you know need to be made, or staying comfortable in patterns that no longer serve you, the portal won't manufacture a rescue. What it will do is make the weight of staying still impossible to overlook. The multiplier effect means you don't have to start over or force something dramatic. You only need to be honest about the direction you're already leaning, because this energy will stretch that direction forward and show you exactly where it leads. On repeating numbers. Repeating numbers tend to get romanticized during windows like this, treated as urgent signals to leap, reinvent, or radically change course. The reality is more understated and more meaningful. These patterns tend to surface when something is already rearranging in your favor, long before you consciously register the shift. A decision you made weeks ago without much fanfare. A way you've been showing up differently, responding differently, thinking differently. The repeating numbers aren't initiating anything. They're echoing what's already in motion. A quiet confirmation that the compass has been pointing somewhere real this whole time. If you stayed through this entire piece, that says something. Not about the portal choosing you, portals don't choose, but about the fact that you're choosing your path actively right now. Whatever is ahead, let it arrive without bracing against it. There's something real waiting in that direction.